We begin with continuing coverage on the deadly crash in front of the Kodak Center in the overnight hours of the New Year holiday. The driver of the Ford Expedition and suspect behind this incident now identified as 35-year-old Michael Avery of Syracuse. Police say he died last night at the hospital. Additional pedestrian victims have also come forward from the crash. We do have team coverage today. You'll hear from a witness shortly from that night. But first, we begin with Isabel Garcia, who joins us live now outside the Kodak Center with what we've learned today from police. Isabel.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Natalie. Rochester Police Chief David Smith says addressed several details surrounding this investigation alongside other law enforcement agencies assisting, including the FBI. Now, while it's been confirmed the Joint Terrorism Task Force is looking into this ordeal, as more than a dozen gas canisters were found in and around the striking vehicle, the Ford Expedition, the chief and the FBI both say this is not being investigated as an act of terrorism, disputing widespread reports within the last 24 hours. Here's what we've learned from police today. On December 27th, Avery checked into the Wood Springs Suites in Greece. Police say he had traveled here from Syracuse in his personal car. 2 days later, he rented the Ford Expedition from a rental company at the Rochester airport and then spent all of the following day purchasing gas canisters in both Monroe and Ontario counties at various locations. Then on New Year's Day, just before 1 a.m., as a rock concert was being released from the Kodak Center, police say video evidence appears to show Avery intentionally speeding up about 500 feet from the pedestrian crosswalk. At about the same time, a Mitsubishi operating as a rideshare service was exiting a nearby parking lot, resulting in the deadly chain of events as the impact propelled the cars into people in the crosswalk, with the gas canisters also causing the large fire. The two passengers in the Mitsubishi died, and now a total of 9 pedestrians, we're told, are injured. Chief Smith says the FBI and SWAT teams raided the hotel room where Avery was staying in Greece, as well as his personal car found at the airport parking garage. No suicide note was ever recovered.
Although the motive behind the crime remains unknown, the conversations we've had with his family so far leads us to believe that Avery may have been suffering from possible undiagnosed mental health issues. At this time, we've not been able to identify that there was anyone else involved in the crime or that it was part of a larger plot. Additionally, we have not uncovered any information leading us to believe that the actions of Michael Avery on New Year's Eve were motivated by any form of political or social biases.
And the mayor also noting during the news conference today the brave and heroic acts of passerbys, including at least one off-duty police officer who immediately jumped in to help and aid those impacted, including trying to assist the driver in the Ford of the SUV as it caught on fire. For now, we have a lot more to unpack still ahead at 5 and 6, but we'll send it back to you at the desk. Reporting live in Rochester, Isabel Garcia, News 8.
All right, Isabel, thanks very much for those updates. With hundreds in attendance at that show, our team coverage continues now with Dan Gross, who heard from those who witnessed the crash and the aftermath as well. He joins us now in studio with what they had to say today. Dan.
Natalie, one of those concert goers is a Joe Placidi. Now, he is from Erie, Pennsylvania, and he actually made the drive from Erie to Rochester to see this show, he says. Now, he and the friends he attended the show with, he says they left early to beat the traffic. Now, he recalls exchanging a friendly word with an officer who was helping people to cross, went to find his car before the crash.
Suddenly you just see this giant fireball rise up. It was like something out of a movie, like out of an action movie. And we're like, you know, what the heck's going on? That can't be like intentional. I don't think that's something with the theater. So, you know, people started screaming, and we saw, you know, a bunch of people running by the wreckage, and the one car, the SUV, was just completely engulfed in flames. And I remember, I mean, it was pretty high up, probably up to like the marquee. Couldn't believe it. Yeah, I mean, I just was thinking, thank God it wasn't 5 minutes earlier. I'm still a little shocked that it had happened. It almost doesn't feel like it really happened, you know.
On News 8 at 5, we'll hear from another person who was there that night who saw the flames on the other side of the Kodak Center windows as they had to shelter in place. For now, reporting in the studio, Dan Gross, News 8.
All right, Dan, thank you. The band performing that night, Mo, has released a statement to social media saying in part, quote, Sunday night's events outside the Kodak Center have left us all in profound shock and sadness. On a night that was meant for celebration and togetherness, we are faced instead with a tragedy that defies understanding. Our hearts go out to the family and friends of those who lost their lives, and our thoughts are with those who were injured. Our team coverage continues on this story tonight, right here on News 8 at 5 and 6.